channel. As for this week, we are on the same unit as the previous lesson, which is from Unit 9, High Tech World. As for today, our main skill for today's lesson is a writing skill. If you are ready, we can start our lesson now. Hello students, so this is our topic for today's lesson, which is we are on the same unit from our previous lesson, which is Unit 9, High Tech World. As for this lesson, we will focus on the writing skill, and the writing is about sentence transformation 2. Let's have a look at this table of contents for today's lesson. For the first part, we will do the pre-lesson, and then we move on to the activities, which is we have activity A, activity B, activity C, and the last one would be the post-lesson for today's lesson. Let's have a look at this slide. As you can see, here are the learning objectives for today's lesson. For the first one, you need to match words 1 until 8 with words from A to H to form collocations. Number 2, you need to write example sentences for each of the collocations or phrasal verb from activity A. And then the third one is you need to answer the question given by reading the writing task. We will start our lesson with the first part, which is the pre-lesson. As you can see here, you need to read the information about using collocations in the learning focus box. You can refer to your close-up textbook on page 118 to read the learning focus. As you can see here, the learning focus is mentioned about using collocations. As for the first point, some words always go together. These are called collocations. Point number 2, it is a good idea to keep a list of collocations and add them to your list every time you learn a new one. For the third point, collocations in English can be grouped like this. For example, we have verb plus noun. So the first group is verb plus noun. Example, keep a diary. Okay. Or we can be grouped as adjective plus noun. For example, is the natural habitat. So these are the collocations that can be grouped into two groups, which is verb plus noun and then adjective plus noun. Okay. For the last point, you can also list verb plus preposition. For example, okay, rely on, or adjective plus preposition. For example, angry with. Or you can write, or you can list as a phrasal verbs. For example, hang out. So these are the ways on how you want to use the collocation. We have the first part, which is verb plus noun, and then adjective plus noun. You can also list as a verb plus preposition, or adjective plus preposition, or maybe a phrasal verbs. Okay, so what you need to do? You need to keep a note about the new collocations and phrasal verbs that come across your mind. Meaning that you need to write the new collocations or phrasal verbs that come across to your mind. Okay, and then you can give further example from the units you have already studied in this book. For example, okay, you can have the verb plus noun, okay, and then you can have the example from adjective plus noun, or you can have another further example for phrasal verbs. Okay. So these are the things that you need to do before we proceed with the activity. Time to start our lesson with activity, which is we will start with activity E. So as you can see in this slide, there is a link to the activity that you need to do. So you will click on the link given, and then we will see what you need to do for activity A. So as you can see in this slide, okay, you need to match the words from 1 until 8 with words from A to H. So now, as you can see here, okay, you need to match this word from 1 until 8 with words from A to H. Okay, so before you match the words, let us look at this slide. Okay, you will listen to me read the words from 1 until 8, and you need to repeat after the what I have said. Okay. So the first word is break. Break. For number 2 is renewable. Renewable. Number 3, cope. Number 4, endangered. Number 5, proud. Number 6, fall. Number 7, do. Number 8, tasty. So you will, okay, now I want you to look at the words again and write down if the words are verbs, nouns, or adjective. As you can see in this slide, for number 1 until 8, you need to write down your answer. Okay, you need to identify. Okay, for example, if the word break given is a verb, alright, you need to write down your answer. Number 1, break is verb. Okay, so you need to continue until the rest, until number 8. So you will be given time to write down your answer before we share as a class. Have you done? If yes, now let us discuss together. For number 1, the word break is a verb. For number 2, the word renewable is adjective. Number 3 is a verb. Number 4 is adjective, as well as number 5, adjective. Number 6 is a verb. Number 7 is also a verb. And then the last one is adjective. So now you are already identified words are verbs, nouns, or adjective. Now you will complete the task given to you. As you can see here, right, you need to match the word correctly And you will do this task individually before you compare answers with a partner. And after that, we chat as a class. Alright, it's time for us to discuss the answers. As you can see, for number 1, okay, the word break is matched with the word up. So the full word is break up. Okay, break up. For number 2, the word number 2, the answer is you need to match with F, which is the word energy. So the full word is renewable energy. For number 3, okay, you need to match with D, which is with. Okay, cope with. So the answer is cope with. For number 4, you need to match with B, which is the answer is species. So it is an endangered species. For number 5, you need to match with word H, which is of, proud of. For number 6, you need to match with word A, which is in love, fall in love. For number 7, you need to match with E, which is judo. Okay, and then the last one is you need to match with G, because the answer is tasty food. So these are the answers for activity A. We are done with activity A. We will continue with activity B. Before you begin to do the activity B, you need to read the instruction of the activity first. As you can see in the next slide, you need to write an example sentence for each of the collocations of phrasal verbs in activity A. We have done match the words. So now we do have these 8 collocations of phrasal verb that was taken from activity A. Now what you need to do is you need to write sentences for each collocations of phrasal verb from activity A in your notebook. You will do this individually to complete the task and compare answers in pairs before checking as a class. So you will do this task first, and you need to do this task first, and do not forget to write them in your notebook. We will continue to our last activity, which is activity C. As you can see, there is a link to this activity that you need to do. Before you start doing the activity, I will read the instruction in the exam task and you need to listen carefully. Here is the writing task. Okay, you need to listen carefully. Below are some sentences about technology. For each question, 1 until 5, complete the second sentence so that it means the same as the first. Use no more than 3 words. Okay, now we will read all the sentences in the task, okay, on the right, but for this time you will not write any answers or complete them yet. Okay, because you need to read the question first. So the first question is asking you, okay, what are all the sentences about? Okay, for question number 2, how many exam questions are there? For question number 3, which sentences has the gap? For question number 4, do both sentences need to be the same? And then the last question is, how many words you can write? You will do this task individually before we check answers as a class. You can refer back to the writing task in this slide that is given to you, or you can refer to your close-up textbook on page 118 to answer the question given. Have you done answer all the question? If yes, we can discuss the answers. As you can see, for question number 1, okay, what are all the sentences about? So the answer is the sentences are all about technology. Okay, because as it mentioned in the writing task, okay, below are some sentences about technology. For question number 2, how many exam questions are there? So we do have 5 questions, because you can see in the second sentence from the writing task, okay, for each question 1 until 5, so we have 5 exam questions in the writing task mentioned. For question number 3, which sentences has the gap? Okay, so which sentences? Okay, the answer is the second sentence. Okay, as it mentioned, complete the second sentence so that it means the same as the first. So the second sentence is the one that has the gap. For question number 4, do both sentences need to be the same? Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, why? Because it mentioned in the writing task, the second sentence need to be the same as the first. So the last question is, how many words you can write? The answer is no more than 3 words. Okay, because it mentioned in the last sentence from the writing task, use no more than 3 words. I think this is all. I think that is all for answers from activity C. We are on the last part for today's lesson, which is the post lesson. As you can see here, you will be given a link to a game. So this game you will do individually to finish the game and share answers as a class. As you can see here, you need to read the instruction of the game first. Okay, so what are the instructions? You need to find the meaning of the given phrasal verbs. Okay, do the task individually to finish the game and share answers as a class. Now we will open the link given and we will play the game together. Okay, if you are ready, we can start now. Okay, for the first one, call for which one is the correct meaning of the phrasal verb above. So call for, what is the meaning? Okay, if you answer, you can choose. Okay, so that is correct. Next, show off. Which one is the correct meaning of the phrasal verb above? Okay, show off. To behave boastfully, to start to lie, to discover or to announce. So the answer is to behave boastfully. Right, so now let's have a look at this question. Take up. So which one is the correct meaning? To require, to discover, to begin, or to be suited to. To take up. Take up, to begin. Is that correct? Yes, the answer is to begin. Right, so the next one is cut out for. So which one is the correct meaning? Is it to discover, or to audition, or to behave boastfully, or to be suited to? So as for this one, let's see, is it correct? The last answer. The answer is to be suited to. Take two. So which one is the correct meaning? Is it to audition, or is it to start to lie, or is it to begin, or is it to require? So take two is, okay, if we say the answer is to start to lie, okay, so the answer is correct. Now we will do the last question. So find out which one is the correct meaning of the phrasal verb above. Is it to discover, or to audition, or to announce, or to start to lie? So find out. So find out, we need to discover. Okay, so these are the answer. Okay, so we got all the correct answer. So what have you learned today? As for today, we learn about sentence transformation using collocations or phrasal verb. Okay, so what are the group that can be in the what are the groups that can be mentioned, okay, for the collocation? So we have verb plus noun, adjective plus noun, or we have verb plus preposition, adjective plus preposition, or phrasal verb. So we also learn about how to write example sentence for each of the collocations given, and then we play a game to review. We play a game to find the meaning of the phrasal verb given. So thank you. I hope to see you again in the next lesson. I think that is all for today's lesson. Thank you, my dear students, for watching this video. I do hope that we can meet again in the next lesson. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.